So this didn't get any better for us. We're going to keep here, unfortunately. Typically, I mulligan down and try to hit an elf. You definitely want an elf in your opening hand. It just gives us that advantage where next turn we'd be able to drop a Rhonas and then a Yoro. So here, we kind of got it in an awkward sequence. It doesn't do that much for us here. We might miss out on playing the Ceratops by not playing the elf there. But getting Yorvo down and starting to pump him up with like Landlord Elf and Rhonas and stuff is just added value. I'm assuming they have maybe a bounce spell? Jin? Okay. Excellent, that's exactly what we needed. Then next turn we can play Shifting Ceratops, give it haste, guaranteed to get in here. Hopefully we can rip a land off the top and I can collect a company. Unless they destroy my goose. So Hazard sucks for us. But what we can do, I didn't attack because I can just scoose the Pyromancer and the Goose from graveyards, making it a 4-4. We can double block the Rampaging Frostodon. We do risk losing one of these creatures based on the damage assignment to a removal spell, but getting that off the board allows me to gain a little bit of life. Not getting great matchups for us. Well, I should say on the play, Henge is very good against mono red on the play when I'm not just stuck on lands here like I am currently. So we're just doing this just to get cards out of the graveyard. It doesn't really matter since it's doing 3 damage anyway. We're just going to go ahead and do that. And they could have another shock spell here to get rid of Yorvo. Yep. We don't want to lose Collected Company here. It's a big way to put us ahead, but however, We can at least start gaining life and pumping up the Scavenging Ooze where we can afford to keep attacking in. I could have also played the Lovestruck Beast and discarded the Scavenging Ooze instead of the Collecting Company, but it's very good in the red matchup. outgrinded the opponent there with a Scavenging Ooze, doing what it's supposed to against the red decks. Luckily we were in a position in which they had to block and get rid of both of their raptors. So we definitely want to bring in some more of those. Probably take out a Galta here. Don't want Thoughtseize. Liliana's Triumph is not great. It does get Hazoret, which is good, but typically the deck just overpowers what Hazoret can do, so I don't really want to bring in something just to deal with a creature or two here and there when most of my creatures are just going to trump over theirs. Questing Beast is good to bring in. Just the Vigilance and Haste is great, but it kind of gets blocked by Hazoret anyhow. So I think we'll go with something like this. Sometimes I cut down on Henge because it's rather slow against a red deck, but given that I'm running 4 Scoozes to keep my life total up a little bit, I think that it's fine. So. All right, we'll give this a shot. Hopefully we can take game 2. A friend of mine plays mono red a lot, and I practice the matchup a lot, and it generally seems that if I'm on the play, I have a pretty good shot at winning. This is not an ideal hand, but we're going to go ahead and keep it. The opponent's going to have something to remove Gilded Goose generally, is what I consider, but at least we can still get to the Regisaur, which Soulscar Mage is incredibly good against Regisaur. So this is where the elf gets bolted typically, like smacked, but that's not going to happen here. It's quite interesting if you ask me. So opponent can just pack down Rotting Regisaur. It's funny that they are making me select all of this here, but opponent's getting really aggressive here. I really hope that they decide to attack with a Ferocidon, because I'm definitely going to double block here. Getting creatures in my graveyard is not a bad thing. I have a Scooz. I've been intentionally waiting to play Scooz. Excellent. I think the best opponent can do here is attack with Goblin Chain Whirler. I'm obviously not going to block knowing now that they have a Bone Crusher in their hand. I'm definitely going to block one of the Soul Scar mages with a Steel Leaf Champion. It's going to force him to use that on there, putting this down to a 2 and making his Soul Scar mage survive, but I'm definitely not in a position where I want to be taking damage right now. Okay. Okay, I'll take that exchange. I can unblock here. So they have 4 damage with runes, which is unfortunate. Probably throw out the Bone Crusher Giant here so it doesn't go away. Biggest way we're going to lose this game is if they hit another Rampaging Frostodon. Because right now, next turn I can gain 6 life minimally. Collected Company would be great here. A Henge would be okay. A Galta would be okay. Any of these things would be good draws. Just top decks what they need. So we have 7. We'll sacrifice this. And hopefully we don't whiff. We whiff pretty bad. Okay, so at least we have a wall. Representing Collected Company again with this land in my hand. So if they do draw some sort of removal or way to shrink down my beast, that they're kind of put off a little bit by it. That's game. Alright. Rhonas came through in the clutch. So it got real close there, but able to come away with a victory there. A little bit of life gain here and there really works out. Problem with the mono red is those bigger creatures, they really have to work to take them down and burn a ton of their resources that they usually burn to your face, allocating them to your creatures. the reprinting of Soulscar Mage was the big thing. It really makes Red be able to stand a chance against these matchups. Round 3, fight. Yeah, I'll keep this one. Hopefully we're not playing against Red. Gruel. Sure. Hopefully they don't remove Garrick's Harbinger, and we can just drop Galta down, which would be insane. Excellent. Not excellent. So I sequenced that wrong. Obviously I should have played this Scoos first. Alright. There's a good chance that we have trouble beating it on the play, or when we're on the draw rather. But we will see. Yeah, I don't think I need to bring in Thoughtseize. Triumph's okay, getting them to sack creatures is fine, but I feel like we can just kind of outpace them on creatures. Heroic Intervention and bringing in maybe help dodge some of the removal that they'll have. But I feel like most of it's going to be a little bit cheaper interaction, so might not be as relevant. But I'm gonna take a gamble and see what happens here. Probably bring in one of you two. So I don't have an elf, which isn't great, but the key is we do have a 2-drop into our 3-drop into our 4-drop. That's the big thing here. That's how you win games right here, guys. Yep. I don't care what little things that they're trying to do. I'm just going to slap massive creatures down on your face very quickly. Alright, I think that gives us time for at least one more round. Not bad, 2 and 1. If you do like these kind of decks, you can eke out wins very easily. They can also get kind of grindy and go to the late game and win. The card advantage that you wind up getting from now, like, or the creature advantage you get from the Collected Company, and the life gain with Henge and the extra creatures you get, it's a pretty sustainable deck. I've had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I'm kind of biased towards it. I chose to play it right before Inverter became a deck. Like, I was looking at blue-black control. This is an incredibly greedy hand, but I'm not going to keep it. This isn't much better, but I'll keep it. No, we won't. Alright. Keep 5. We can put Impulse back. Let's see. So if this works out right, we're just going to do 1, 2, 3. I mean, it seems a little unfair. Turn 2, 7, 6. I was hoping to not run into this deck. I really hate playing against it. It's just a long, tedious deck. I mean, there is a chance that the opponent just comes out here and kind of stabilizes. They can activate Priest, stacking the Mayhem Devil trigger on top, killing my Landlord Elf, and then forcing me to sack a Rotting Regisaur rather than the other way around and sacking the Landlord Elf instead. So we're going to get rid of 1 Regisaur. Sacking these 2 creatures, that's tap. So they are forced to block unless they put another creature out with the 3 mana that they'll have available with the Mayhem Devil, which is very possible. I was kind of hoping I would have drawn a Galt or something where I could have just dropped it down for 2 mana, and then that would have most likely have been game over. Not a bad top deck. Keeps us alive. Now they can kill the 1/1. Well, no, they can't. They have their Mayhem Devil. Never mind. I'm just so accustomed just getting slaughtered by Mayhem Devil. A little aggressive attacking there. His opponent can still make a couple life tokens and sack those and gain life and not die to a Midnight Reaper trigger. So I sacrifice the 1/1 there, unable to attack a Lovestruck Beast in case I draw a Great Henge or a Galta. It keeps the mana cost down for those. A Great Henge can help get me back into this game, though it's looking pretty bleak, but I kind of have to draw one this next turn. Yep, they got 10 to sacrifice. opponent's getting short on mana, but it's not stopping the Priest of the Forgotten Gods here from pummeling me down. Opponent has to block more than just Rhonas. This is our best hope. If we get to untap with Scavenging Ooze and Rhonas on the table, we'll win, but it's unlikely. They have five mana. So drop a creature, make me sack a creature, most likely sack Rhonas. That way I can keep pumping up with Skoos. There's plenty of creatures in the graveyard on both ends here. Yeah, opponent's got 4 and I got 3, so that's 7. Brutal. Not very nice. So opponent's going to be able to sack 2. That's probably game. Especially considering I can only do 1 spell per turn. Yeah, they got there. Okay. So we got grinded out here by the sack deck. Variance wasn't necessarily on our side. We definitely had awkward draws. We didn't see a Henge in any of that matchup, which is very unfortunate. Nor did we see a Ghalta in those matchups, which is very unfortunate. Collected Company was okay. We didn't see too many outstanding things, but we're gonna play one more game here before we go in. We're 2-2, so I'd like to try to get up one, see if we can go 3-2. We'll do that. And obviously the couple mistakes that I made playing there doesn't help me win. Okay, so we have the elf like you want, but this is not the opening hand you want by any means. We can't cast anything. Alright, this is more reasonable. So do... I'm probably going to put back a beast here. They are good, but knowing that I'm going to turn 1 Goose, I don't necessarily want to be just using that mana right away for this, or if they remove it, I wanted the Branch Walker here so that way I can essentially scry, or get a land out of the way. We're not going to drop Skoos immediately. Good chance we're playing against this Sultai variant here, so slow start's not optimal for us, but here, because of that, now we do this. Yeah, I thought we were playing the field deck, so dropping Regisaur is a bit aggressive with having a discard here, but I can discard the Lovestruck Beast, it's just going to be a little bit slow. Yeah, actually I want a Branch Walker here. So that's why I do want to drop Skoos right away, is not let them know that I have it. And we can get this Uru out of their yard too, as long as we hit a land. Okay, so we're gonna have to bring in Reclamation Sage. It's kind of a waste considering I have to discard that card anyway to Regisaur on my upkeep, and I'm tapped out. So I'm thinking I can just concede here. I don't have any actual way to remove Platinum Angel. So we're going to bring in Plague, bring in Thoughtseize against them as well. Sage is kind of narrow, but it's definitely better than Branchwalker. But it also kills Golos, which is another thing there. Take out a Henge here. Pro Black is fine. Virulent Plague is what we want. Harbinger is good here. Go this year. It's possible. You know, bringing in Triumph is an option, and also Heroic Intervention help deal with maybe like a Wrath of God if they're playing them or something like that. But it's not typical. It's not what I want to see. So I'm going to get greedy here. All we need to do is hit a land, like a single land. If we hit one land off the top, we're fine. Because I can Rotting Regisaur and then Great Henge, and of course that's not what I drew at all. So, getting punished here. Getting mega punished here. I'm not playing out Skoos. I definitely could and start attacking, but it's really not going to be doing much. I just need to go for the win here, otherwise I'm going to lose anyway if I'm trying to peck damage down at this Altai deck. Just one land is all I need, please. That's all I'm asking. Okay, well we got an elf, so that helps, but we're so slow right now. Languish, yep, that's probably the end of it here. Alright, so we're just going to concede this. We got greedy, we draw really poorly, and didn't hit any lands, so nothing we can do about those matchups. Variance is against you. Alright, so we tarnished the record a little bit by falling under 500 with that last game there, but hopefully you got a good example of what the deck can do and how to not make misplays when you are playing certain things. Hope you enjoy the deck. Feel free to try it out. It's a lot of fun. It definitely wins a lot. You can see that in some cases variance didn't work against it, or did work against it, and we just lost. That's magic. We do get greedy, as I said, running only 20 lands in the deck, running these big cards. But typically we have we have 8 mana dorks here, and most of our cards cost 3 mana or less. So it typically works out. It worked a little bit better in Pioneer, where I had the other 1/1 elf instead of the Gilded Goose. Gilded Goose is kind of dirtily, but it's the best replacement we have. So here's a general list of the deck. If you like it, give it a shot. Feel free to adjust wherever you feel. If you have any comments or suggestions on things to put into the deck for what we're facing against in the meta, which is kind of all over the place, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let me know. Have a good one, guys.